Hey, folks, it is showtime, showtime. We're going to see how long it takes to get a few people up in here today. I got a couple things I want to talk about today. I seen a video yesterday on Ronald Reagan and seen a video on or an article about Reagan and Trump today. And between those two thoughts, I just decided that I was going to bring y'all a little bit of a live today involving talking about the things that we're fighting for in 2024. We're fighting against socialism. We're fighting for our freedom. Now, I will go ahead and let my intro play through. See if we get somebody join in here. Let's see here. If you're here, let me know in the comment section. I'm gonna go ahead and play the intro. Give people a little bit of time to jump in.
Money that they gave us in exchange for these treasury notes, then other countries won't want to buy our debt. It's already happening. And
Oh, all right, we got one in here. Looks like.
money that they gave us in exchange for
All right. First thing I'm going to talk about today is going to be the Trump trial. I will give it a minute, let some more people get in here. Um, Socialism is a real problem we have in our country, and you could see it by how large our welfare system has gotten, by how the justice system has been weaponized, about how um, politicians control the country instead of the voice of the people controlling the country. And somewhere along the way, we've pretty much sold our country out little by little, crumb at a time, until we're now potentially being controlled by people that don't have our best interests at heart. I'm talking about China and several countries that would love to see us destroyed and piecemealed out, including those clowns like George Soros. I see I got a couple people in here watching. If you're here, let me know in the comment section. I'll throw you up here on the comments. Let me know who's out there. I do have. All right, hey, what's going on, Tim? I do have a couple video clips I'm going to play for y'all today. Actually, several. Some little snips I found over on Twitter or X, however you want to call it. Just talking about socialism. I was thinking about Trump trying to make a play for New York and doing exactly what Reagan did. And so I started watching some Reagan video clips after I read this Gateway Pundit article earlier this morning, and I realized um, Reagan was not loved by everybody either. The media hated Reagan at times. Um, the warmongers at Berkeley, they hate him too. There were so many different little clips that I've run across today of Reagan just having the crowd screaming and cheering and clapping like it was a Trump rally behind the things that he said. Reagan was a little bit like Trump, not as braggadocious, but he did not mind putting his foot down, telling people how it was going to be. I remember when there was an airline strike. I think it was Delta Airlines was planning to strike and basically shut down part of the airline industry. Reagan didn't give him that option. He told him, "You try that crap one time, we will replace every one of you." And guess what? That ended the strike. That's just one of many of Reagan's accomplishments, including having a landslide election where he turned this entire country almost red as far as the voting bloc goes. And I think we're headed for the same thing coming in 2024. All right, let me see who we got here in the comment section. Did you hear about the mistrial in New York since the jury was posting that we're going to get Trump as a juror? Oh yeah, absolutely. I did. Matter of fact, I've been watching that on all the news. I'm curious, Tim, as to how the mainstream media will cover this. It will kind of be a telltale sign as to, was this pre-planned? Was this an accident, a slip up? Is this real? Is this a black swan event? I don't really know. Maybe they plan to keep Trump in trial for another 6 or 8 weeks by making them do a retrial, because that's always a possibility. I actually tweeted something out like that on Twitter yesterday on my Twitter page. And for anybody that doesn't know, I'm on X almost daily, just sharing and reposting things over there that I think are need to be said, need to be shared out. Same channel as here, Devoted Patriots. To no different. I do share a lot of my YouTube stuff over there, but I share memes over there, and I share other people's posts as well. It is a war zone over there of information just pouring in at all times. Um, I will say that there is a lot going to come out of this Trump trial. This thing is fixing to explode in such a way that nobody knows how it's going, how the pieces are going to fall. And unless this was done intentionally by design, and I do worry about that as well. If this was done intentionally by design, had this in the works, so that way they can get Trump back in court and basically hear some more evidence, rehash the whole mess, and then try to find him guilty again. And then they would have this be able to say found guilty of a felony twice. You know how the Democrats are going to do it. But at any rate, I don't know if it is a black swan event, false flag event at this point. It's really hard to say. But it did seem kind of crazy how quick the judge reacted on the situation. It seemed fortuitous, I guess is the best way to put it. But yes, this Trump trial is definitely blowing up. As a matter of fact, I've got an excerpt here on the video of Dr. Phil did an interview with Trump. I watched some of that, but the most important thing to me was the poll that was done at the end, and I won't spoil it for you. Just stick around. Got the clip for it. Hey, what's going on, John? American in Brazil. If y'all don't know John, go check out his channel. This guy works really hard to get the truth out there as well. Got a great channel. Glad to see everybody here. Got a few in here now. I'm gonna go ahead and get into what I wanted to talk to y'all about. There were several things that I wanted to touch on about socialism, about how Reagan is a little bit like Trump, about how sometimes for change to happen, you got to butt heads with people, and that's just the facts of the matter. All right, let's go ahead and get into this.
Treasury notes, then other countries won't want to buy our debt. It's already happening, and the price of a long-term bond that the Treasury puts out.
Apologize. I don't guess I cleaned that one up good enough. Here we go. There's John. We're going to show John up here. I actually need a moderator when I do these lives. I just haven't actually took the time to find somebody as a moderator, somebody that's willing to show up when I give them a call or whatever. Thanks, Tim, for sharing me out. Awesome, brother. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and see if I can get this video running. Let me put me over here on the side. All right. Yeah, this Trump trial is a crazy situation, folks, especially with this juror situation coming out. I mean, it is like a nuclear bomb. Just hit the planet. It's all over the media everywhere.
Question was asked, I would vote.
Now, before we get into this first clip, I want to let y'all know we've got Dr. Phil here. He did interview Trump, pretty good interview. Asked him a lot of the same questions like Sean Hannity did. But he did take a poll at the end of his interview that I thought was really interesting. It kind of proves the point that I was trying to make, that this whole trial situation has backfired since day one in every way possible, including yesterday with the breaking news. It's just crazy, folks, how these Democrats keep pushing for the socialist crap, and the American people ain't trying to hear it anymore. We're over it. Let me see here. Let me put me back down at the bottom. We're going to listen to Dr. Phil here. He's not one of my favorite people, but he does have some common sense at times.
For a convicted felon for president of the United States, 91% say yes, And then Keith and a few stragglers say no. So 91% of the people say yes. And I don't know if that's because they think that's kind of a bogus conviction or if they think it's a white collar conviction or something. That's something we need to drill down more on. But 91% of the people say they would. We'll see.
Most prisoners can't vote.
Right. Well, and you can't vote from prison. But actually, a convicted felon can't vote in Florida unless they're under New York law, which is interesting. Then they can vote in Florida. So, yes, ma'am.
Hi, Nova. So I was here.
Before I get into this, colored lady's her take on the situation. She's a Democrat and changed her mind about how she feels about who she needs to vote for. It's a good thing. But Dr. Phil, after his full interview with Trump, did a poll. The entire audience, I don't know how many people was there. You don't get that number, but at any rate, the entire audience polled 91% of them said even though Trump is now a convicted felon, as far as paperwork goes, they vote for him anyway. So that shows the metric of the scale of how many people don't really give a shit. This lawfare stuff is kind of went in one ear and out the other for a lot of people. A lot of people are just numb to it. A lot of people just believe it is a bunch of garbage. Just more show trial in order to smear Trump. Even people that don't want Trump are coming out and starting to say, look, this is just not right. There is no way this man deserves this much bullshit. It is just a fact, folks. Let me go ahead and crank it on out. Here we go.
Monday, and I stated that I was formerly a Democrat, now Republican, and I'm still undecided. Great interview. I think you did a wonderful job getting him to be a little more personable. I thought it was really funny how he took your stats and was really like, oh, you know, when you showed him the stats on everything, I was like, I wondered if you gave him a copy of that because he was so impressed with his numbers. But I am swayed. My mindset towards him since I saw the court, when y'all talked about the court hearing and all that, yes, I don't feel like that was fair for him.
Flood a country's public
and that is the
with enough raw sewage.
That is actually the hold on, let me get the stupid video to stop. So that's actually the sentiment of the entire country right now, if not 3/4 of the country. They just don't believe this lawfare is going to stick. They think it is ridiculous, it is unfair, it is unjust, and it is turning people's couch potato selves into voters. That's the vote count that Joe Biden is not figuring for. It is the new registered voters that are going to show up to vote for Trump when they would never vote for either one of them in the past, because they see that injustice cannot stand. There's a lot of people in this country that don't consider themselves affiliated with either political party, but do not can't stomach injustice no more than I can. And it's good to see just how much exposure we've gotten in the last several months, last couple of years, about the Democratic Party's agenda to socialize this country in such a way that it destroys us. The George Soros plan, the Cloward Piven plan. If you don't know what that is, go check it out. Cloward Piven. It's the playbook. It's the Marxist playbook for how people like this clown here, Barack Obama, really want to destroy this country. Hey, Daily. Look here. We got a few more people in the comment section. All righty then. Good to see everybody here. Glad some people finally showing up. I only give it about a 15-minute live stream scheduling. Didn't actually put it out there early enough this morning. Been running late today. Just one of those things. But I did put some clips together for you, just so people will remember why we're voting for Trump, why we have to fight the socialism. And one of the things I recognize in putting this together this morning is socialism has been around for a very, very long time in this country. Reagan was warning us about it. He was dealing with it just arguing with people at conferences I'll show you a clip about that here in a little bit, over how these young people think they have the right to change the rules in the name of their protest. That's not a legal protest. But at any rate, there's many speeches out there by Reagan about stomping out socialism, about the tread of socialism coming to America, already here, already soaked into our colleges. And I encourage everybody to go check out your past, go look at some of the things that Reagan has did and said that just sound and look a little bit like what Trump is trying to do, has done, and will do. Now, before I get into this short little clip here of Barack Obama talking about how we need to socialize our country, I wanted to read y'all an article. I'm going to put my goggles on. But there was an article on the Gateway Pundit this morning. It says Trump is echoing Reagan's genius New York strategy. And it says the results could be similar. You know, Reagan actually won New York. He's the first Republican to win New York since God knows when. It says history never actually repeats itself, but sure it does reveal some interesting patterns. In an opinion piece published by Fox News on Friday, Rendezvous with Destiny, Ronald Reagan and the campaign that changed America created a former president, Donald Trump, with following the same genius strategy that helped Reagan win New York State en route to a resounding victory over the president Jimmy Carter in 1980 landslide election. In fact, Shirley described, who was the commentator, described deep blue New York as ripe for picking for Trump in this fall election. And that's good to know. Shows in the polls that Biden is tanking, shows the Muslim votes are not going to be siding with Biden. Says no Republican has won the state since Reagan's historic landslide re-election victory over Democrat challenger Walter Mondale in '84. Says, in other words, the country has changed a lot in 40 years. Nonetheless, as the Biden-led establishment works to transform the United States into 1984 George Orwell dystopian future, says by imprisoning our their political enemies, such as Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro, and Trump at this point, Shirley sees a tremendous opportunity for the presumptive GOP nominees. In fact, the historian identified meaningful parallels between Reagan's 1980 presidential bid and Trump's current bid, talking about how they both getting out there and doing rallies and speeches in the Bronx and places like that. Reagan got out there and beat the bushes in order to get to the people of New York, to actually, he come to New York to be heard and to listen to people. Says now Trump is wisely taking a page out of Reagan's playbook. The historian wrote, campaigning in a non-traditional area, staying on offensive, keeping Biden on defense, making new news, raising the morale of his high ground, lowering the morale of Biden's campaign, and paving the way to a historic win in the fall election. History might never actually repeat itself, but for the purpose of predicting, we have nothing else to guide us except for the examples we have before us, which is, it looks like Trump is making a huge play for New York, and it looks like he's doing some really good at this point. Because the Muslim community, a lot of the Black community, a lot of the 5 boroughs of New York that are now being funds taken away from in order to support the illegals that are showing up. These are the type of things that are driving a wedge between the Democrat Party and their voter base. I'm just glad to see it at this point. We got a video here of Barack Obama talking about how, this is actually kind of a nugget I found, about how we need to change the world. If you don't know where all this evil socialism come from, listen to this crap.
Enough raw sewage. You just have to raise enough questions, spread enough dirt, plant enough conspiracy theorizing.
Let me back this up a little bit.
When y'all talked
All right. Apologize, this thing is not moving as fast as I'd like to. All right, this thing froze up on me. Apologize. Let me see what we got here in the comment section. I do not know what's going on with my thing. It is acting slow. Okay, here we go. We'll try this. Bear with me, folks.
You negotiate many times.
Let me back this up just a little bit.
He was so impressed with his numbers, but I am swayed. My
We'll just go ahead and let this play
mindset
through,
towards
folks.
him since I saw the court, when y'all talked about the court hearing and all that. Yes, I don't feel like that was fair for him.
Getting warm here in Texas,
Flood
folks.
the country's public
Drinking lots of tea these
enough
days.
Raw sewage. You just have to raise enough questions, spread enough dirt, plant enough conspiracy theorizing that citizens no longer know what to believe. Once they lose trust in their leaders, in mainstream media, in political institutions, in each other, in the possibility of truth, the game's won.
Y'all catch that? Once you spin it, turn it on its head, cause total disruption, then we can regroup it, rebrand it as something else. That's what I got out of it. It was just Obama's way of sensationalizing this push for hate in this country. Just my opinion, folks. But there's a lot of great little nugget speeches out there where Biden talks about how we need to existentially change this country. It's all a push for socialism, folks, and that's just the truth. Reagan knew it was coming too. He could see it.
You negotiate many times.
Negotiate? What is to negotiate? What is...
University is a public institution.
That's right. But the university...
Its own community and for the community of Berkeley that live around it.
All of it began the first time some of you who know better and are old enough to know better let young people think that they had the right to choose the laws they would obey as long as they were doing it in the name of social protest. I'm sick and tired of the argument about whether some effort to enforce law and order is going to escalate anything at all. Plain truth of the matter is, this has to stop, and it has to stop like the day before yesterday. And it's going to be stopped whatever it takes. I was picked at a few days ago in California by some youngsters that had signs that said, "Make love, not war." Trouble is, they didn't look like they were capable of doing either. There are cities in Michigan... Oh, shut up.
There it is.
I don't think that taking to the streets and rioting and disorder has ever solved anything or ever will. Plain truth of the matter is, this has to stop, and it has to stop like the day before yesterday. And it's going to be stopped whatever it takes. I would like to propose that the issue is that on the campuses, you, who are adults, you who are entrusted with those young people and their guidance, have a responsibility to make it plain to them from the very beginning that you yourselves do not tolerate the kind of conduct that has led to the burning of Wheeler Hall, that has led to 2 murders on the campus of UCLA.
You created an atmosphere
campus where no one wants to listen.
You are a liar.
Listen to.
Now, don't you talk about political speeches. Don't you make a political speech of that kind. Those who would trade our freedom for the soup kitchen of the welfare state have told us they have a utopian solution of peace without victory. They call their policy accommodation. And they say if we'll only avoid any direct confrontation with the enemy, he'll forget his evil ways and learn to love us. All who oppose them are indicted as warmongers. They say we offer simple answers to complex problems. Well, perhaps there is a simple answer. Not an easy answer, but simple. Unless we realize we're in a war that must be won. Those who would trade our freedom for the soup kitchen of the welfare state have told us they have a utopian solution of peace without victory. They call their policy accommodation. And they say if we'll only avoid any direct confrontation with the enemy, he'll forget his evil ways and learn to love us. All who oppose them are indicted as warmongers. They say we offer simple answers to complex problems. Well, perhaps there is a simple answer. Not an easy answer, but simple. If you and I have the courage to tell our elected officials that we want our national policy based on what we know in our hearts is morally right, we cannot buy our security, our freedom from the threat of the bomb, by committing an immorality so great as saying to 1 billion human beings now enslaved behind the Iron Curtain, give up your dreams of freedom, because to save our own skins, we're willing to make a deal with your slave masters. Alexander Hamilton said, a nation which can prefer disgrace to danger is prepared for a master and deserves one.
The fireworks begin.
Got another clip here for you. Just an example of how much Reagan was loved and hated. He was very controversial. I don't know if I wasn't following politics when I was 12 years old when Reagan was in office, but I do remember that the country was united behind him. I do remember that things weren't so bad in the 80s. I didn't start seeing our economy go to shit until Barack Obama come around, and that's the absolute truth. Clinton, I didn't really see the effect that Clinton had on America's economy directly. I think that kind of poured out during the Obama administration. But at any rate, Reagan was just like Trump. He would stand up in a minute and say, "Hey, look, turn my microphone back on." And hey, we got to get rid of the socialist horde that's helping ruin our government. Reagan did not hold any punches. And that's why people cheered like they do at Trump rallies when Reagan spoke. It was because he like Trump, give the American people hope, give people something to believe in, made people think that they actually had a say in how our country's being run. That was the difference of the entire country, or a mass amount of the entire voting base of the country voted for Reagan in 1980 and in 84. And hopefully we'll get everybody voting in 2024 for Trump, the Democrats, the independents, the couch potatoes that are just too lazy to go vote. Hopefully things have gotten bad enough for enough people that we can turn our country around. At the booth, November 5th. It'll actually be January before we actually get to start doing some things. But if Trump wins in November, I'm sure he'll have stacks of executive orders ready to go the day they swear him in, and that's what I'm looking forward to. And more than that, I'm looking forward to this retribution. And I said it. That's a pretty fancy word for what I would really like to say, but we definitely need to get some retribution. You have to do it, like you said, on Hannity and on Dr. Phil. You have to go after these people. Otherwise, the very next Republican candidate that comes up for office in 2028 after Trump is done with his term will be treated just like Trump. So we've got to stop this root and rot, stern and stem. we got to abolish the socialism one way or another. And I think it starts by putting people in jail. And that's just the truth of the matter. Repercussions and retribution and justice for the way these people are treated, not just Trump, but the American people as well. This whole Biden regime needs to be locked away, no doubt about it. Just my opinion. But let's go ahead and get back into this. Yeah, Reagan had some really Trump-like moments, getting mad, getting loud, slamming his fist, arguing with people, turn my microphone back on, whatever he needed to do to get his point across. A little bit like Trump. And the people loved him for it, while the media hated him for it. Go figure.
May have the first question.
For the question, you asked me if you could make an announcement first. And I asked you for permission to make an announcement myself.
Would the sound man please turn Mr. Reagan's mic off for a minute? Is this on?
What happened here is Reagan says to the guy says, Reagan says to the guy, we talked about before this meeting, you had a few words you wanted to say. And Reagan agreed, let him speak first. And then I have a few words I want to say, meaning Reagan, before we start this event. No problem. Well, as soon as the event gets started, guy starts telling, I guess the commentator, turn off Reagan's mic. Let's see how this goes.
Mr. Green, did you turn that microphone
You
off,
asked
please?
for me if you would... I am paying for this microphone, Mr.
I'm paying for it. Turn this microphone back on. Alrighty, folks, that's all I got for you. A little bit of a short live today. Try to be a little bit more prepared next time. Give y'all some early warning with the scheduling option. Throw it out there on the internet. My internet is still a little bit choppy. I did get an Ethernet cable, but as is, I'm gonna have to use it in both rooms. I guess I'm gonna have to get me another Ethernet cable or a splitter or something, because I'm moving my laptop around. But that's not here nor there. But at any rate, everybody have a great day. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for coming by. We'll be doing more live streams in the future, somewhere between noon and 5 p.m., just according to my schedule as well. My schedule here changes frequently. But at any rate, everybody have a great day. Like, subscribe, and share. Everybody have a good one. Over and out.